There we go. Perfection. Oh, I gotta tell Lynette to join. All right. We are live on all platforms now. How are you doing today, Mia?
Fantastic. Fantastic. How
Are
are
you
you?
sure that you just like you were not sure in that moment? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why the hell I'm talking to you. Wait, just kidding. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
What the hell? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure
It's still
out. Why the
just
fuck you can hear me?
going through the wrong spot on your side.
Yeah.
That's okay. I understand that. I need to get signed in over to the call in. Yeah. Save and start. Let's make sure I got this open. See, it did exactly what I said it was going to do, which it defaulted automatically.
You are
All
connected as
right.
the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
Yeah. Sorry for that, guys. You just get to hear the background noise. Oopsie daisy. All right, there we go. There we go. Now everyone can hear me better. Hi, everyone. Sorry for the change of plans on the co-host. But that's what we got Mia for. I think we got an upgrade.
Hi.
We got an upgrade, so I'm not gonna complain. You know what I mean? Hi, Yosh. And I guess apparently, and this is me not knowing it ahead of time, and people can laugh at this if they want, and I don't even blame them. But apparently, I'm not even going to be on the line tomorrow, so y'all will see me doing something else entirely at my normal time on a Tuesday.
That means you get to go to bed on like at a decent time though.
I know, actually, I'm kind of excited to get normal sleep, so I guess they're doing a one of their time debates. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm good with it. And then there's our awesome screener. So, did you read? Okay, so guys, hi, welcome back. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you. This is when we remember all of our fallen veterans, especially those that died in combat zones. So, thank you to everyone that served, and thank you to everyone that is actively serving, because we can't forget them either. Okay. So, Mia, have you been paying attention to what's going on supposedly with Aran?
Partially.
Partially. Oh,
I
there goes the
think
pups.
yes. So, are we talking about the negotiation speaks, but nobody can confirm if the negotiation speaks are actually happening?
Yeah, so CBS actually, and I know we're gonna see everything that comes up from me saying CBS. CBS actually posted an article today that I read that was going over the supposed parts of the agreement with it. And when you look at it, it's reminiscent of 2016, 2015.
How would that be, Ari?
Where do you want to start? There's key differences, right? Back in 2015, the strait was open already. So that wasn't included in the negotiated deal, right? Originally
Yeah.
in 2015. They are going to remove the sanctions. Oh, also reminiscent of what happened before. Also, they're going to pay them any money that's held up. Oh, sounds reminiscent of 2015. Now, all of this is contingent upon whether or not they reopen the strait within 60 days. I don't know who is getting their nuclear material. I don't know who's getting their enriched uranium, but they did agree supposedly to get rid of their current enriched uranium, which again is reminiscent of 2015. That happened there too. So yes, I guess yeah, that is the one thing I did see is that they're in conjunction with this, they want to add more countries to the Abraham Accords. One second, if you can talk for a second.
So, with that being said, if it's just basically what, like, because as I remember from like the advanced negotiations, it was they had it basically like they had a decent deal laid out. However, the issue was that the U.S. said no because it wasn't long enough. The time frame wasn't long enough for
The
the
crazy,
U.S.
sorry, I'm not trying to cut
No,
you
you're
off. The
fine.
crazy thing was is that they wanted longer. Like Iran was willing to do um 15 to 20 years, and it was the UN that dropped it down to 10. For those that didn't know, sorry. That was my little piece.
Yeah, that was the only thing I like because I was like, didn't they? Didn't they just say, "Nah, I don't like the time frame"? But like, they came up, they had a deal like a month ago.
They did. They did. They always have the deals, and it's not happening. I'm gonna swap headphones real quick.
Okay, it's just really interesting. A bunch of business people that are supposed to be business people and negotiate really well, they're not doing that. I can't wait to get new glasses, so it's not like y'all don't see everything that's happening on my screen. All right.
Oh, it was unmuted the entire time. My bad. Didn't mean it for that. I
Oh, I didn't hear
totally.
anything.
God, the rain is so
I had
loud.
it muted.
I like how so the chat is going off about me going over the theoretical, right, agreement
Yeah.
that's been proposed. And I just want to remind everybody that this isn't officially official in any way, shape, or form. And this isn't even new. Nothing that I'm telling you is new to 2026. This or all of these things, minus the Abraham Accords, were already agreed upon in 2015. You think that they didn't have nuclear and like enriched uranium? Back in 2015, they did. They got rid of their stockpiles then too. Jace, y'all listen so well.
All right. Let's see. Ooh,
Heck
I was supposed
yeah.
to say, "Oh my goodness, I accidentally requested up," and then I
No, you
realized,
didn't. That was on purpose.
this is the live that I am supposed to be in.
Yep.
I was tapping.
When I forget to unmute. So, yes, absolutely. We're just explaining that. What was supposedly in the agreement, which again, Iran hasn't confirmed and only Donald Trump has. And again, the only thing that he's added to the JCPOA at this point is, in fact, just them signing on to the Abraham Accords. That's it.
And
That
it
would be the only
does.
difference. And I guess that's enough to make Donald Trump happy.
I had also read it that Iran was not going to was not going to agree on anything if Lebanon was not um,
You're
included,
awesome.
and I appreciate that, man. But
Well, Lebanon is included, which is good. I agree because Netanyahu needs to keep the IDF in their lane, which is protecting their country and not
yeah,
invading others. That's what I will say. But let me pull this up because I put it in. Oh, it's not even official that they are including them in the Abraham Accords. It's just that they should include. So let's see. President Trump said Monday that any agreement to end the Iran war should include a requirement for several additional countries, including Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, to join the Abraham Accords. Uh, so, so not even that Iran is joining, but Saudi Arabia and Pakistan are joining, along with Turkey, Egypt, and Jordan. Bahrain and, of course, the United Arab Emirates were already a part of it in 2020. And this is
um,
apparently was on True Social. After all the work done by the United States to try and pull this very complex puzzle together, it should be mandatory that all of these countries, at minimum, simultaneously sign on to the Abraham Accords. So he's doing great. That's the only difference between now and 11 years ago.
all right, give me a second.
Ah, y'all will be able to hear again when she comes back. All right. So we're doing great. So fantastic. I need this window open.
Sorry, that was bothering me. Like my kids invaded my room.
Oh, you're good. Guys, if you voted for Donald Trump and still support Donald J. Trump, please call the number on the screen. It's above my head on the landscape and above Mia's head on the portrait. And also, unfortunately, I have to take my cat. I think I told you earlier, but I have to take my cat to the vet tomorrow because it looks like something either scratched or got in her eye, or it's an infection and it's really leaky. So that's why I have this like nice little daily goal. If you guys can help donate directly, I do not include super chats in this amount. So these are direct donations to Cash App or Venmo. Jose, thank you so much for the two. And also anything you guys send, just so you know, this goes to support not only me, but pays for the screener that's here listening in and making sure you're good with your calls and who you are. And then also, some of it does also go to Mia. I pay people for their
What?
labor. What a concept, am I right?
What? That's wild.
It's a crazy thought process. I know. It's so weird.
So
But
I'm trying to keep up with what's going on with Cuba
yeah.
because it does very much go undiscussed, and that is the only thing. It's really hard right now because it's just like obviously I don't want our service members at war. I do not want people dying. I do not want that. Um, However, I know once something is reached in it with Iran, Cuba's next because he's been trying to rush through Iran so then he could move on to Cuba. And that is where this is very just like ugh, for me because we, and I say we as a this country has been putting Cuba in such a fucked place for so long. for decades, and with embargoes, sanctions, and now a blockade. So it's really, as a lot of us say, if you are against communism, which they're not even communists, but if you're against a different economic structure, let it fail on its own. You shouldn't have to invade, and or like you shouldn't have to starve them out in order for it to fail. So
That sounds like the radical concept. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, duh. Obviously, we need to take over and dominate.
look, I'll give you another radical concept. Um, Human life being more valuable than land.
What? No. That sounds crazy. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. How could
I
that even
just
be a thing? Human
look,
life? What's that?
but here we are. um, my question would be, if we start getting Iranian refugees and or Cuban refugees, are conservatives going to demonize them as well for being immigrants?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they already did. Remember, well, when we went in and ousted or absconded
You know?
away with Maduro, Christina was like, "We'll offer you guys TPS status if you come into the country." After we took your president, come now.
I
Okay.
need to find the video where they were legitimately talking specifically about Venezuelans, and then what happened after.
Oh, I
Um,
don't think anybody ended up actually coming is the biggest thing.
no, the way that they spoke about Venezuelans, like directly before everything
Mm.
happened, and then what happened after everything happened, where they were just like, um, they were very much dehumanized as a people, as a country. Um, and then after the fact, just like, we welcome you in, we understand what you've been through. And it's just like, kick it.
No, they don't. They never get it. Any way you go, they never get it. All right, we do have Matt on the line, so we'll go ahead and bring him up.
Hello,
Hi, Matt. How old are you?
I am 19.
Okay. And why are you? Well, you said to the screener you wanted to discuss why you still support Donald Trump. What's he done so far?
So Donald Trump has supported my ideology, in my opinion, and I think that he's made America better.
How
Uh,
does he support your ideology?
well, he is, in my opinion, he supports my ideology of neo-libertarian phalangism. Uh, he really helps the American people by keeping traditional values, advocating for executive power to handle like civil unrest, securing the border, cracking down on crime, and ensuring that we're having a free market rather than one that is controlled through, say, many state-run agencies.
I hope you realize that when it comes to a free market, blanket tariffs are an antithesis to the that's you
You said
can't have a
blanket
free
hairs are,
antithetical. You can't have blanket tariffs on other countries and have a free market.
but it's the free market in America, no?
No. I don't
Why
think
is
you know
that?
what that is.
Pardon?
Wait, how old are you again?
I'm 19. I'm currently attending university.
Okay. Um,
But I do genuinely believe in it because it is the idea, where it's I want a powerful smaller government rather than one that's constantly tied up in the bureaucracies of Senate legislation, congressional legislation that takes so long. No, I don't attend Trump University. But that is one of the pros of him shrinking the government down. I mean, it's just much quicker. A lot of the executive orders that he's done and other such legislation has come through much quicker compared to, say, Obamacare, when it was tied up in legislation for years while it was attempting to be pushed through.
So you advocate for someone else controlling you rather than having
No,
more power as an individual?
I believe it's more as in over the, like, when you have a group that's able to get through laws, but the laws are not inhibiting and infringing upon an individual's liberty. That's what neo-libertarian phalangism is.
You said a
Hello?
small but powerful government.
Yes.
Okay, but
I
you said
sometimes I love AI, right? Just in these instances, and I'm just talking about Gemini AI.
every
He
bullet
must have
point.
said it so much that my computer just auto-filled because I didn't even get past typing the T in libertarian. And by the way, guys, technology is scary. It listens to you. It should not
That
know
is
the
true.
things that I'm talking about. Neolibertarian phalangism is a highly paradoxical, fictional, and purely speculative internet sub ideology that merges extreme state authoritarianism with radical free market individualism. It primarily exists as a theoretical thought experiment in alternative history and political philosophy communities online. So
Well,
you're in
wait.
a Reddit 4chan thread,
No,
and
no,
this
no.
is where you came up with it.
No. Phalangism, that was under the Spanish
Paradoxal,
Civil.
fictional, and purely speculative internet
Are
sub
you?
ideology, where
I
you
have a
are
question.
advocating for state authoritarianism.
I have a question. Do you think that AI is 100% accurate?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Then I
Trust
feel
me,
as
I've
if,
seen it be wrong, but
yeah.
I don't really care. This is hilarious because it does fit along
What?
with what you were saying. You just don't realize it.
Well, no. I mean, yeah, it's like phalangism is a slight form of fascism, but it's in the economic sense. It's something
Yes,
that rejects
phalangism, where did it
capitalism.
originate?
That originated in Spain under Jose Antonio, I believe.
Yeah, and what does it reject?
What?
What does it reject?
Oh, it rejects capitalism and communism.
Oh,
We believe in a what? We believe in a state-run like syndicate, like corporations essentially, which combine workers and like the employees to serve national interests. And that's what Trump does. He ensures that, like the rich are able to prioritize and keep costs down whilst working towards national interests and pushing out products.
the
And that's how
rich
we're
are
doing it in the country.
prioritizing keeping costs down. In which way? In which companies?
What do you
I
mean?
know, right,
Well,
Steve?
that, pardon?
I was responding to a comment. So, which companies are in which rich people are prioritizing and keeping costs down?
I believe almost every company, because that's how they would make their profits. Like, I believe that's pretty intuitive, keeping costs down in that manner.
No, they're keeping costs down for themselves, not for the
Yeah,
consumer. Can
but
you,
by
so just to be
lowering,
clear, we are, like, you would agree that the United States of America is a capitalistic society, right?
yeah, I think that's
Cool.
like obvious.
And Donald Trump is pushing through capitalism heavily, especially when you look at the fact of deregulation, where he's deregulating the market and allowing more free range capitalism to run unchecked.
Wait. Wouldn't that have actually been more of the essence of capitalism? Because that would have been the laissez-faire system that was then taken away after the Great Depression, and when they installed more regulations because of that. Wouldn't that be more of the core tenet of capitalism by deregulating it?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. He's supporting capitalism, not your weird ideology that isn't a real thing.
I believe it's real, and I do think that while
I know you believe it's real. I
I
appreciate that one. No, I'm
well,
saying like if you are supporting Donald Trump, you say that he supports your ideology. This weird subreddit 4chan thread ideology that you have that is against capitalism, whereas you're supporting a pro-capitalistic president that is seeking to enrich himself, and quite literally, as opposed to what you're saying where rich people are worried about the pricing and keeping it low for people, he literally said he doesn't care about rising prices. So he does not care about pricing increasing. So he does not support your ideology.
Okay. I pose this for you. How do you
No,
feel
you're not.
about?
I want you to directly respond to what I said. You're not posing anything.
Okay, I would agree that the idea on him supporting my economic idea does not hold, because yeah, it is capitalist. That is true, but it is better, in my opinion, just to be capitalist and communist, like in that sense of the word, like economically. But one of the major things I do genuinely support Trump on is the war in Iran, like because the Iranian people need freedom, and for so long
He's not even trying to free them, sir.
He killed their
He was
15
trying to
leaders.
eradicate their entire civilization.
Which is not freedom. Yes, he killed one Ayatollah that has now been replaced with the other, and even in his proposed peace plan that he's worked up as an agreement, it doesn't say that the Ayatollah that is currently there, the new Ayatollah Khamenei, is supposed to step down.
Well, that's true, but what he's doing here through example Strait of Hormuz and all these economic pressures, what's affecting us in the United States has been affecting.
Yeah, it has been.
Iran.
Why is it affecting us? When did the Strait of Hormuz close?
I believe a month ago.
In March.
March, April, May. Oh, dang, I was there though.
Yeah, just making sure. Right. And then so it was open prior in February, right?
Yes.
And what happened on February 28th?
They closed the Strait of Hormuz.
What happened on February 28th?
I'm sure you could tell me.
Yeah, so the United States of America, under the direction of Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, attacked Iran.
Okay.
So they closed the Strait of Hormuz as a direct result of our attack on them.
Yes.
Meaning that it was open previously. I always find it interesting when we give people credit for a problem that they created.
I feel it's justified though, because currently
In what way?
they're doing with the freeing the Iranian people, because
they're not freeing the Iranian people when we were continuing to bombard Tehran, and then when even Donald Trump said, okay, it's your turn now, rise up and take over your capital, Israel never stopped their bombardment on Tehran, the capital of Iran, so they couldn't go and take over them, and none of the people flooded the streets.
Wait, no, wait. You said that Israel's still attacking them. Do you have a source?
They were.
In Tehran?
I said were.
Like
past tense. Past tense. They were. They, like, when Donald Trump, like literally day 2 or 3 of the war, after they confirmed that the former Ayatollah Khamenei was killed in their attack, right? He said, now's your chance. Go take back your government. Go take back your capital, while Israel was still bombing the capital of Iran.
Yeah, but I think that the reason why, not specific militarily, as in when I say that Trump is freeing them, I don't mean as in he's going to go in military and free them. I mean through the economic pressures he's placed on the Iranian government, because due to the
we're giving them more money based off of what Donald Trump's already said is happening. If Donald Trump is telling the truth, if Iran has sincerely agreed to these points, right? We're giving them money that's been held up in sanctions, right? So money that's been held in foreign accounts. We're releasing them their own money that's been held up in foreign accounts. And we're removing
Cool.
sanctions from Iran, which is going to further enrich them because they're getting a shit ton of money that they didn't have previously. They are not hurting economically. They're getting, just say, pallets of
So you're saying,
cash as an example.
so you're saying right now they're not hurting Iran economically.
The entire world is currently hurting as a result of Donald Trump's war on
But
Iran.
Iran, okay, I'm gonna be honest here. When I came in talking about the ideology thing, I'm gonna be honest. I was trolling, but this is like actually. So my family, they do live in Iran, and I live in the United States. I've
There ain't
talked
no
to them,
way.
and no,
Get me
I
the fuck
do.
off this
I'm
planet.
being honest. They live in Demovan. They live in Demovan right now. They had to evacuate in Tehran. My grandfather is 100 years old. He's lived there. I visited twice. I've seen the IRGC. I've been harassed. I've seen my cousins get yelled at for not wearing their hijab in the mall. But I'm not lying. Like, I understand some things. I'm not telling the truth, but I am. And what they've told me, because they were on the richer side, was that right now the middle class and the poor are suffering because of what has happened in the Strait of Hormuz and the borders closing. And a lot of them, they support Trump because they see him as a liberator in a sense.
They haven't
And
been liberated. Like, you can say that about you and your family, which is a very unique sect of individuals that you personally know. And then I can also look at investigative journalists that have released reports where they've received phone calls and voice messages from people that are either still living in Tehran, the capital of Iran, or they fled outside of it, and they have delivered these to investigative reporters. We see them reported on by Al Jazeera. The New York Times did a whole special on it. They actually did 3 different specials on it for 5 different individuals. The BBC's also done it as well. Reuters has done it as well. Like, you can also look at all of these other places where they don't feel liberated because they are worried that the dinging of a microwave is actually the sound of a bomb dropping.
I don't think I would feel
yeah,
very liberated if I sent my daughters to school just for their school to be blown up. But
There's that too.
I understand, but if
I'm
Iran
just
has
saying,
been
for as many
under,
people as you want to say that you know, I can also say, due to investigative journalists, people that were against the Iranian government and the Ayatollah, that have said that they don't feel liberated. While they did celebrate the death of Ayatollah Khamenei, his son took over. And he's just as
yeah,
bad, if
but
not worse.
mhm, mhm. And if I were to convince my family that Trump wasn't a liberator, what could I possibly say to them? Because
before
time,
we get into advice, I'm so sorry.
What?
I am not sorry, actually. Um, you started this conversation out with a very fictional fucking ideology. Okay, so then when you realized, like, oh, these women are serious, you wanted to flip the script and be like, I have family in Iran. So where, like, what exactly are you trying to get out of this phone call? Because, like, now it's, what if I have to, or what if I'm trying to tell my family that Trump is in fact not a liberator? What are you actually trying to get out of this phone call, um, rather than like some type of mental labor from people who actually read?
I I'm trying to get some form of, say, argumentation or form of, like, why people see him as a liberator. Because I understand what you guys say now, and yet many people, uh, many times they say that no one has helped them at all. Like, they say no countries have helped them. No one has attempted to, say, liberate them through economic pressure or through military might. And in that sense, are they not correct? Like, are they not correct that in some form the
No,
United
there's
States
been
is
no
hurting?
regime change. Here's why they're not liberated, right? Nothing's changed. If something had fundamentally changed, let's say either the government body, the rules that they're governed under, like women being required to wear a hijab, women not, well, in theory, they're not getting educated, but that's not a true thing either. And things like that, that would be liberation. Something has to change in order for liberation to occur. And as we already know, as long as the Ayatollah remains in place, especially when it's father to son, and reports
Hmm.
say that the son is even further authoritarian leaning than his father,
Hmm.
then no, nothing's changed. Also, W. Crow for the two, Crow said being a war hawk on Memorial on Memorial Day is diabolical.
A war
Yeah,
hawk and having family in supposedly in Iran is even more diabolical. But
I see. I don't agree with the United States going in and attacking it, and I see it more as, again, it is that the reason why I place so much emphasis on the economics is because revolution and democracy typically must come from within, and through economic pressure, that's where revolution occurs. If you look at the French Revolution, it's because everyone was going broke, and right now in Iran, because it is inflation is increasing and the poor and middle class are suffering, that gives way for revolution to occur because eventually the government will have enough money and people will be able to revolt as the army turns against them. I feel as if we continue with these economic pressures and sanctions, eventually the government will collapse, and we've seen that throughout history to be true.
oh, I
Yet,
have a
or
question.
go for it.
You said your family has money.
Yes,
Oh, so like your family would be the privilege of the of society over there.
bit more, but not to the point of elites.
So
They
yes.
still live. Pardon?
So yes, your family's privileged, right? And because you specified that, the poorer or more impoverished communities were suffering the most, and you're still pushing for revolution. So actually, it's not even really a question. It actually just solidifies my point for crunchy leftist here, that revolution would sacrifice the marginalized or the disadvantaged communities. And you guys are willing to sacrifice, by you guys I mean people in general, are willing to sacrifice the marginalized communities or the more the less
Well, hold
privileged
on.
communities, for the sake of comfort.
Wait, wait. I think you might have it a bit wrong with my family, because yes, they do have money. They don't have the social status like others do, but they do have money, and they do fight for their freedoms. They were in the protests. They had to evacuate from the bombings from Israel. They had to leave. My brother, he got his own leg. No, my cousin, not brother. My cousin got his leg broken in a protest, and it's scary. It is scary, genuinely. Like to every day, it feels like something's gonna happen, and I've basically become numb to it. Where I'm just like, okay, like I'm like, okay, if they die, they die. Like I guess it's gonna occur, and I do talk to them. Sometimes it's difficult due to the VPNs, but it wouldn't be me sacrificing them for the marginalized, as it was them fighting for their freedoms. They fight for their freedoms. My father did in the 1979 revolution until he realized how horrible Islam was, and as do they today. They continue to attempt to protest, but protests have silenced since the killing of 40,000 in February.
You're awesome.
I'm awesome. Thank you.
No.
Sorry, that's an auto sound. Yeah, it's a sound from somebody sending a super chat.
I still don't know where this dude stands, because being like advocating for the war, but also being like, I you got this, Ari. I already threw my phone. I can't even tap anymore.
Well, that's not fun.
I don't.
We need to fix
I
that
don't
one.
like what the. I don't like the missiles. Like, that's to be genuine. I don't like that they're like physically attacking them. However, how else will revolution or anything else occur without outside pressures economically on Iran? Because as long as Iran is able to keep itself economically stable, the regime will never be opposed, as the army
They're
will be
they're
with
going to
them.
continue to be economically stable because, again, even according to Trump in his proposed peace deal, right, to replace the JCPOA that he shat on in 2018, um, includes giving the Iranian government money.
Do you know how much
They're
money? How
not
much that is?
hurting economically when they are going to get a payday out of this, when they were receiving a payday as a result of the Strait of Hormuz being closed, as a result
Okay.
of President Donald J. Trump's actions in Iran. They are making money throughout this. They are not hurting economically. The world is suffering and the people are perhaps suffering. Actually, I agree, they are suffering. I shouldn't say perhaps. And what we're doing right now in reality is making more individuals angry with the United States and the West and even Israel, especially when we killed somewhere between 120 and 150 schoolgirls in Manab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's terrible. When do you know when the how much money the Iranian government will get, and when the peace deal is going to be going through? Like,
Yeah, so if
I'm
it
just
goes
saying.
through, it will be after 60 days. As soon as
Uh,
as soon as Iran has reopened the strait, that's it.
and when do we know that will occur though? Like, if we don't know, does not
Trump says that
the
we're maintaining the blockade to ensure that the strait is reopened. So they're going to know. Our own United States Navy is going to know immediately when the strait is reopened.
okay, and that while that's not a guarantee, I do see that that is a nice prospect. And I just have to say, I'm probably gonna go at this, but I say, like, thank y'all so much. This was actually a very interesting talk. Not
Okay.
to be honest, I was like bullshit. I was like screwing out first, but this is actually really cheating. And y'all did change my mind on this genuinely. And let's say
Yeah.
one last thing. My family genuinely does live in Iran. I don't speak much Farsi, but if y'all don't believe me, that's okay. I just hope that they're safe. And thank y'all so much. You guys are two very intelligent women.
Oh,
Okay, stop
appreciate that.
advocating for war.
Yeah, definitely don't advocate for that. And just when you go and look at whatever Donald Trump proposes, make sure you're also reading the JCPOA and comparing the two, because from what we can tell so far, it is JCPOA light.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Thank you guys so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Okay, what the fuck? I'm sorry.
Sorry, they were obviously talking to me about that. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. But I'm glad he at least acknowledged that that's not his ideology and it was just some shit he read online. So
Oh, sorry.
I will say this: I was right about that Reddit 4chan thread, whichever one it is. It's just so fucking weird.
Every
It's like
time
I should
somebody says that, I think about like fingers because it just sounds like phalanges. So my
phalanges.
brain,
Oh,
my brain just does this.
which we're going to start this off with saying thank you, Crow, for being the first person to donate $2. Maybe we have a $2 train starting with the direct donations. Again, like this goes to paying the call screener for their labor, and it goes to Mia as well for her labor as well. Just remember, this education should not be free. And as you heard from the last caller, we educated him. So can you guys, well, not education, my labor for their education should not be free. Let me
I
rephrase
did not
that.
educate. I was just, can we get somewhere logical? Because that don't make no sense.
Yeah. And TikTok, can we focus on lighting up the gift gallery and double tapping that screen? And I got to see about making a report. And Jesse says, Presidency Ari, make the world follow its laws. I know, right? If only we actually did. And thank you, Hillary, for the bits. All right. Let's pull up. We have Eric, who is 25.
Hello. So I wanted to ask just a quick little question here. I come from a blue state up in the Northeast, and obviously our policies lean towards the Democratic Party. But I just wanted to ask, in the party's history, I would say, what would you have to say if this were John F. Kennedy running this administration? Because back in history, a lot of his views and political ideologies would now be considered conservative. But but I'm just asking, like, if there were someone else who was doing this, would we be as critical, or is it just because it's Donald Trump that we're being extremely critical? Like, I don't lean either way. I'm a neutral. I'm just asking this as a
You're
genuine
awesome.
question, as just like a way to, like,
If
just
this
so that
was
we're being fair.
Obama, I would still be pissed off.
You still would be.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then again, like, you're talking about the Iranian stuff going on, which is a fair criticism. I will admit it's very fair, but it's also very fair to admit that, like, just last administration, we had an unfair, unsafe border. You know what I mean? And so I feel like, we gotta stay fair with the critiques and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I'm all for being open-minded and educating people on what's actually going on. I'm just saying, I've met a lot of people who don't like what's happening strictly because of who's in office. Now, it seems that you are not that way, and I appreciate that about you. I just figured, I think we just gotta stay more fair. You know what I mean? Because it's an impossible situation to be in.
Also, to be clear,
So
a early sorry, uh, a pre-1960s Democrat would be a conservative. So it's funny that people
well,
bring up
exactly, but
JFK like that.
that's what I'm trying to say. Like, pre-1960, like, so like, I'm just trying to say, like, we gotta stay fair. You know what I mean? Like, if it was like a Democrat, like if it was Obama, you know what I mean? If it was him, and this was happening,
Right there.
you know what I mean? Like,
Plenty
would
of
we be
plenty of
as
people on the
critical?
left protested against Obama's engagement with Libya. So this isn't actually anything new.
Okay. Well, like I said, I've spoken to a lot of different people from a lot of different sides, both young and older, and I've noticed a pattern with people, easily being able. And I'm not saying this is you, because it's clearly not. I'm just saying I've noticed a pattern with people saying, they'll say one thing about one person, but if it's the same exact thing but under another person, they'll turn an agreement. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a little, you know what I mean? People can swing just by a person's name, not necessarily what their policies are, because I've seen that personally. So I'm just saying,
Okay.
like, just staying consistent with it all. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I think what you're doing is great. It's just, I just think it's, we just gotta stay consistent. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Is there anything else you would like to lecture us about?
Well, I'm not lecturing. I'm just providing,
Okay.
conversation.
Do you still
That's all I
support
wanted to
Donald
say.
Trump?
That's all I wanted to say.
Do you still support Donald Trump?
I'm neither a supporter of him or the Democrats. I'm strictly in the middle. I'm a neutral. I don't have an allegiance to any political party. So I'm just
Do
simply a
we
facts
have
and
a
history guy.
Republican and a Democrat as president? Like, do we have a dual presidency?
No, I actually wish we could go
Okay.
back to the old way, where at the beginning is whoever was the losing candidate became the vice president. I think I preferred that system a lot better because then you didn't really have anything to lose.
I thought about that the other day.
I've been thinking about it for years, honestly, even back when, let's just say, when Obama was running. Like, why did we move away from that? It makes no sense to me.
I
All
can see
right.
that being a legitimate thing.
Well, we've made it this far into the phone call, so I might as well let you know. Just sitting on the fence doesn't only continues to harm you, um, but my with a privilege that might be must be.
Okay.
Because it's not, we're not talking about like Democrats, Republicans. We're legitimately talking about like humanity and the
Of course.
Constitution.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so
And I
sitting
agree
on the
with all
fence
that.
about the Constitution and things that are in place and someone
Of
shitting
course.
on the rights of humans, it feels
Right.
very,
Yeah.
so
Of
being on the
course. I
fence
mean
is
that's the whole point.
weird.
That's the whole point of everything. I get that. I do. I'm just saying, you look at patterns in history and you see other things happening where it's inhumane of what's happening in other countries. We had it with Vietnam. We're having it with Iran now, and I just think we gotta stay consistent with you know just staying to the facts. Like you said, just a matter of just being a good human being. Like that's what matters. So I'm just saying, I've heard other people talk about, other kinds of stuff where, they'll swing their stance depending on who's supporting it. They're very, lukewarm, or they're very easily to manipulate. And I don't think that is you guys, not at all. I'm just saying, I've heard it before, and I've seen patterns like that before. So I just wanted to call and get your guys' opinion on
Yeah,
on
what I,
on
what I
that. That's
usually
all.
like to tell people is remove me from the box.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair, very admirable thing to do. I think it's very noble, honestly. And but like I said, I'm not trying to cause no trouble. I don't mean no trouble, none at all. It's just, like I said, just staying consistent is all. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the most important thing to take away from everything. It's not right, it's not left. It's what's right, what's wrong. So, you know, I was just I don't want to,
Are you
like
voting
I
in your
didn't.
midterms?
Am I gonna vote for in the midterms?
Yes.
If if I feel like it's strongly, if I feel very strongly about it, yes, I will.
Hmm.
But I can't say whether or not right now, because I'm still trying to figure out which side I want to be a part of. But like I said, I'm a
It
neutral.
you
So
can you can choose not to be a part of a side. That's not a problem. Like most of us aren't one party or another. I There's a phrase for that. It's called politically homeless, and there's nothing wrong with staying outside of the RNC or the DNC. You don't have to be obligated to them unless you have
okay.
closed primaries. That would be the only thing or only reason to join one, at least in my opinion, in your state. But you should absolutely always vote in the midterms. Not voting is kind of just lazy.
Well, like I said, I voted in the 2024 election. I was an independent. I wanted to actually vote, but I didn't feel like either candidate was where I wanted to align myself. So I went with straight down the middle. And that was, Mr. Kennedy Jr. And that was more so based off of like his line of work, and his family and stuff like that, and what his family's done. So, like I just split right down the middle, and that's not necessarily a thing for the primaries, though. It's really, it's you pick and choose, right or left. But you don't have a lot of independents in the primaries anymore. So that's all. Like,
Because most
I'm all
independent ballots don't have primaries. Most independent parties don't have primaries. States where you're
right.
going to see them on a primary is when it's a nonpartisan primary. So, states like California, for example, everybody on the ticket is running against each other for the top two, period.
Oh, okay.
Caller,
Okay. I
caller,
appreciate you
just
informing me about that. I
wait a
appreciate that.
second. So I'm gonna say this. Since you treat a vote like a piece of toilet paper, I might as well throw you like a little recommendation. Okay, look at policies. What
Yeah.
policies
Sure.
would positively impact society? because if you're just going to throw away a vote, you might as well throw it towards harm reduction. Okay. And yeah, that's all. Look at policies. Don't just, and I kind of feel like that was kind of weird to ask us, like, to compare what's going on now and if it was like a different president, if we
Well,
would support it if it was somebody that wasn't DJT. However, like, we actually pay attention to policies, whereas you have been very adamant about just talking about parties, like which
well,
side
I'm
to
just saying
choose.
consistent information regardless of party. That's my whole thing, is being consistent, which you guys are. I'm just saying sometimes you'll have new reviewers who come on, and they may view you as a hater, which I think is wrong. So you know what I mean? So
But
I'm
what
all
I'm
about
saying is
consistency.
that you're not consistent in making sure that we're being consistent. You're worried about size rather than policies, because that's what's going to actually make a difference. Not just like, because you can have a Republican with I guess more so moderate policies. And then you can have a Democrat that just so happens to vote further right than the average Republican. Like, that's why to sit there and continue with the labels and continue with, yeah, obviously we are in a two-party system. However, you still have to look at policies.
Of course,
And so that means
absolutely.
you need to also be consistent when we're talking about voting, whether you take a household name out of it or not. You're still saying, "Oh, I'm going to vote right down the middle," where that doesn't. That's you're still not going to get what you want out of that. It's about pros and cons list and looking at policies, not
Sure.
people or party.
No, absolutely. You're right. You're 100% right. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. You're right in saying what you're saying. Like, you're 100% right. It's just sometimes policies will align with the middle, and that's what I've noticed for me personally. You know what I mean? So it may not be that way for other people. But I'm just saying, like, just I agree with you 100%.
Okay, thanks so much. Best wishes.
All right. Thanks for calling in, man.
Of course. Have a blessed day, you guys. Okay.
You too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right, so that was that Matt? I already forgot. Eric, my bad. Matt was the other caller. Also I want to say thank you to Rosa for the 25. She said, "Hope this helps." It absolutely does help. Again, guys, I'm going to reiterate this. I'm not just taking donations for me. I pay the call screener who is listening in, and I also give it to me as well, because she is going to be having surgery soon. So like this is not for me to continue to do this. This is, I pay people for their labor. So everything that you guys send, it helps not only me, but it helps Mia, and it helps the call screener who is working for me quite literally. So I pay my employees. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. And also, you can be in the middle but vote. Use your voice when you go to the ballot box. Your voice is filling in a bubble, circling a candidate name. Also, look up before you consider here. Also, hear me out on this one, guys. This is a little bit early because this is more for the presidential election type of deal. But before you do a write-in candidate, look up what your state laws are when it comes to write-ins, because you are more than likely throwing away your actual vote by doing a write-in. About only 9 states in the entire country recognize write-in candidates. So,
Yeah, we need to not have another 2016 where there was actually a what is it, a traceable percentage, a traceable percentage of the
so many
writing of a
people.
fucking gorilla.
So many people. Thank you, Nicole, for the $9.99. I appreciate that. Thank you, Matt Lee, for the 2 Australian, and thank you again, Hillary, for the bits. All right, we have John. We'll bring him up. Maybe, if the clicker works. John in Arizona. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Doing well. How old are you?
I'm 29.
And what opinion or what did you want to fuck. Somebody put that in the comments and I didn't think it was true.
Someone put me in the comments?
No, it's something else entirely. Sorry. I
okay.
was
Gotcha.
looking something up and it is. All right. Okay. What did you want to talk about today about why you still support Donald Trump?
Well, actually, I wanted to talk to you. I really don't still support him, but I think we probably come at it from different angles. I don't think that he delivered on the deportation. You know, I think it was an empty promise where maybe you would say, well, I don't like the promise to begin with, you know?
I think he didn't deliver on deportation in the way that he promised to get out the criminals, and he's not focusing on the criminals. He's focusing on everybody and everyone. So, yeah, I would agree. He's not keeping up his promise.
Well, I think when he initially put the position forward, it was we're going to do mass deportations.
Yeah, he said we're getting the criminals out of our country. And
switched.
again, in order to be a criminal, you have to have been convicted in a court of law. And less than 10% of everyone that's been detained by ICE has a criminal record.
Well, I think, you know, it's like there's a logical, I don't know, entanglement there where it's like you are a criminal by coming into the country illegally.
Incorrect.
You are right. You have to prove it in a court of law.
Incorrect. You are not a
That's a
criminal.
misdemeanor.
You're not a criminal just by entering the
Misdemeanor.
country through a non-port of entry. Are you familiar
Wait,
with a Supreme Court case, Arizona v. United States?
No. All right.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
talking like? No, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, so simply
What's your
residing
point?
so what the Supreme Court of the United States found in 2012 is they decided that simply being considered deportable within the United States does not simply make one a criminal. In order to be a criminal, you have to be tried, you have to go to court and have a conviction. That makes somebody a criminal according to our criminal justice system
Fine.
because, as everybody should remember, the United States practices, in theory, innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, I don't. This is why I voted for Trump initially. This thing you're doing, and what I mean by that is like, yeah, you're right. Fine, whatever you're gay. The thing, yes, they're not a criminal. They are.
Oh,
criminals.
so you disagree with the
I don't
Supreme Court of the United States of America and their ruling and their precedent that's been set for a long time? Okay, so do you agree that it is in fact our United States motto for our criminal justice system that it's innocent until proven guilty?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with everything you just said. Yeah. What's your point? I completely agree with everything.
Why do you still support Trump?
I said I don't. I said he didn't deliver on his promise.
So you don't still support Trump?
No, I don't. I think that there needs to be someone who will actually do the deportations and not just wishy-washy on it.
I mean, if you deport people, I feel like you should deport people to actually deport them back to, like, you know, the country that they know before. Yeah.
I don't even care. I don't even care.
Oh, you don't care about that?
Just get them. No, don't care.
That makes sense.
Like,
there it is.
I just do not want my country to be subjugated and obfuscated by just a pour over of people that are not American.
Your country?
What makes somebody American?
Yes, my country.
Yeah, what makes somebody American?
You're awesome.
Technically, I think being born here, citizenship, or within a province of the country as well. Puerto Rico.
Oh, interesting, because Donald Trump wants to get rid of birthright citizenship, so people aren't actually considered American when they're born here. So that directly doesn't align with what you just said.
No, no. They do. This is why. I would say technically that is what makes someone American. I am totally in support of doing away with it, though. Get it out.
Oh, that requires a constitutional amendment.
No, or it could be a Supreme Court interpretation.
Yeah, we'll see. More than likely, it'll be because due to the wording of Section 5 of the 14th Amendment, which I'm sure you've never read, it requires a constitutional amendment. Do you know what is required for a constitutional amendment to be added?
Yeah,
Tell me.
2/3 ratification by Congress.
And?
The president has to sign it into law as well.
And?
And you're a goofball. What else?
Oh, you
No,
don't
the
know?
blood of your first child.
What else? What's the third prong? I guess I don't know. I thought it was 2/3 ratification and signed into law by the president,
That's it?
ratified by the states.
By how many?
I don't know.
Three
Isn't that
fourths.
wait a minute, hold on, because now I'm being sincere. I thought that the state ratification, the 3/4 thing, was if Congress couldn't get the votes, the states could have their own delegation, and then 3/4 of the states
No,
voted
I
on
know
it,
what you're
they could get
talking
it.
about. You're talking about Article 5. Um, sorry, not Article
I'm
5.
not talking about Article 5 of the 14th Amendment.
No, that's Section 5. You're talking about the articles of our Constitution. Yes, there is a way that if the states wanted to propose an amendment, they could force one through. But no, an actual amendment to the Constitution requires Congress plus the president plus the states.
Okay, fine, I agree. Yes.
Okay.
What's your point? Yes, I agree. I don't. This whole thing of like, well, the Constitution and the way in which we do things are just marching orders into how our country ought to be. No one's for that. Nobody's for that. You're not for that. Even in your position, are you for that? Would you
For
really
what?
be for that? For whatever you advocate for?
I didn't even understand what you're.
Like,
what am I?
If the Supreme Court tomorrow and said, you know what, we're interpreting the 14th Amendment, so we're bringing slavery back. You're like, okay, that's insane.
That's
we're
not
just
the
not going to
14th
do
Amendment.
that. You know?
That's not the 14th
Does that
Amendment.
make sense? Like, oh my God, I know the 13th Amendment. If they're like, we're reinterpreting
Slavery
the 13th
never
Amendment,
left our
we're bringing
country.
slavery back.
Slavery never left the
Oh my
country.
God. Fine. Do you understand the principled position I'm trying to make?
No, because you're wrong on principle.
If there was something that you were so morally opposed to, but the Supreme Court interpreted it so that is the way it ought to be, would you just be like, okay, that's what we're doing? I'm vehemently morally opposed to this, but some 9 people.
No, I'd probably
interpreted it
at
this
that
way,
point
therefore
actually
it's
leave
now.
the country, because at that point the country's going to shit.
Yeah, well, the difference is that this is my country and I don't want to leave it, and I want to preserve it.
By your logic, it's my country too, simply because I was born here. Whoop-de-doo.
No, not by my logic. Would you agree with me that to be an American, one of the requirements, I think the only requirement is you have to be born within the territories of America, right?
Under the jurisdiction thereof, or within the jurisdiction thereof.
Sounds like you're adding to something, but there's no disagreement. We're in agreement?
No, because we're not. It expands past the territories.
Okay, are you talking like a military base or something?
Yep. Or even just to two citizens that
nerd.
are living
You
abroad.
understand the point I'm trying to make, right? You dork. I'm saying
What is
it's
wrong
like
with
common
you?
parlance.
You know what?
Wait a
I
second,
don't.
wait a
I don't
second,
find
wait
it
a second.
offensive,
right?
like to be called a nerd. That just means I'm
No,
intelligent. I
it's
appreciate that.
it's not even it's not even the
Technically,
name
the
calling.
Galapagos
It's
Islands, if you're born on the Galapagos Islands in the Southwest
you asked a
Territory, you're also
question
an
and
American.
someone
Okay, I get
answered
it.
it, and you had
I'm
a
saying that
problem with it.
Yeah,
writ
it's
large, we understand the concept of an anchor baby. Conceptually, we understand if you're
Okay, so
born here
my question
territorially,
is,
if you're born in the territory of America, you're considered an American. That's the required. It's a prerequisite. I don't like that.
I
I
don't
don't think
like
people
that.
that voted for Trump are
aren't we a
appreciating the
nation
decision
that
that's been
also
made right
you
now.
if
I'm so
like
glad we're
the
facts over feelings in the United States of America, in theory.
No, it's
isn't
an
it
emotional
with America
thing. I
you are us?
take pride in my culture and my country.
Oh, just keep talking, Mia.
Okay. I couldn't remember if I turned them down or if you turned it down altogether. But isn't America the one of like the nations that like your nationality becomes American when you get that citizenship?
That's what I thought it was. Yeah, that's also
Okay, it's
within the
not just
14th
if you're
Amendment.
born here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm forgetting an important segment there.
Are you telling me that there's people that are born in America or a territory or subject to the jurisdiction thereof that aren't de facto Americans?
Nope, you weren't listening at all.
Okay. Well, you're not engaging with me even remotely. So I guess
She
we're
did
both two peas
engage,
in a
you
pod.
just weren't listening at all.
Hey, actually,
Okay.
yeah, I did ask you a
That's fine.
question.
Yeah.
I'm voting for someone more radical than Trump in 4 years or 3 years.
Okay. You go out. You be you,
Yeah.
boo boo.
Yeah. Midterms, I'm voting for someone that's. I'm going to vote for the left, vote Democrat. I want to make Republicans feel the pain. And then I'm voting radical
Point
right.
of fact, he already stated he believes we should abolish birthright citizenship, so being born here can't be his standard. Thank you, Crow. That's a good point.
Okay. Yeah, fine. I don't think that should be the standard. I think it is the standard. I've made that point from the get-go.
So how would you replace it? What
I
would
think
the standard
currently
be? That doesn't make sense.
I think having two parents here that are also American, being born in the territory, or not even, just having two American parents. You can be born anywhere. I think you be a citizen of the country of America. Yeah.
And that's it? You can only become a citizen if you are born to what,
Two
American
American
privilege, I guess, at that
parents.
point?
Yeah.
Okay, no other way to
Two
become an
American
American?
parents. There might be another way if there's something that guardrails mass immigration. Yeah, there could be another way. I'm just spitballing here. I think it's a good idea. Do you disagree with that? That seems to be how a lot of other
Yeah, you
countries do
sound
it.
nonsensical.
You're like, actually,
No,
that's
but I have
how
a
Western Europe does
genuine.
it, and that's fucked up.
Jesus, fuck.
I don't even know what that accent
Um,
is. He's doing a
Ed,
bad job
you,
at mimicry.
I'm doing
okay,
a
so
terrible
my
job at mimicry.
Still not a good one.
something's legitimately wrong.
I can't.
Bonus
I
round,
can't
those
sound
parents
more.
would also be born here. He's still using birth as the standard.
Yeah, you agree with me that there's a difference between both parents being American. I didn't say born here. I just said American.
No, you
Like
said being
right now,
born
as the
to.
current
You said
system.
being born
No, I didn't.
to. Yes, you did. You said being born to two
Born
American
to. Yes.
citizens.
Yes.
So your standard is still birth, which it can't be because you've
Yeah.
already said you disagree with it. So
You think that the way that do you think that the way that it's currently done is the same as the way that I've said I want it to be?
you are still establishing
You
it
do.
based upon birth. Yes.
You think that the way that you become a American citizen is if
Based
only
upon
if
your
two
standard,
of your
yes.
both parents are American.
No, that's what you
But that's
said.
currently not the standard.
Yeah,
That's
that's the
currently not
standard
the
you
standard.
want. That's the standard you want, is that
You
it requires them to be
correct.
born to two American citizens. However, because you already disagree with the premise that you are American by birth, you can no longer utilize that same premise continuing forward.
Yeah, because it's working on a current framework that I don't agree with. Like this is like child play. I'm saying right now you cannot be a citizen of America. You can have a child in America, and that child
You
is granted
are
citizenship.
not very good at
I'm
child's
saying
play, if that's the
I
case.
want the in addition to being born in America or being born in general, your parents have to be American.
Oh, uh-huh.
Is this conceptually difficult?
You still haven't
I'm not even
established
trying
what
to be
makes
rude.
somebody American. Do you see how you're just
At the moment,
creating
you
a
could
circular?
say being born here. Do you understand what would happen if we did it my way versus
He
how we
doesn't get
currently
it
do? Do you think
at
there'd
all.
be any difference at all?
Respectfully, I don't
Do you
even
think there'd be
think
a
you know
difference or
what
no?
would
I
happen
don't
if
think
we
you'd be an American
if
citizen,
I don't know
actually.
if I don't think you have a way. I don't think you even know the way.
I think the current way is the way to destruction. And if you're not even able to understand and conceptualize why, then you don't understand why people voted for Trump. You'll never understand. And I don't think you want to understand.
No, you're just not. You're simply not understanding, actually. Are you a descendant of the
Do
founding
you?
fathers?
I don't think I'm a descendant of the
Are you selling
framers. I
now?
think my family got here in the 1700s.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
one side did. I think the
you
other
wouldn't be
side
American by
were
your own
Norwegian
standards.
immigrants
Got
in
it.
the 1800s.
Congratulations. Yeah. You wouldn't be an American by your own standards.
Sir, okay, I'm not saying that the only possible way for someone to be an American is to have two American parents. I'm saying that would be the de facto primary way which we
And
engage
then
with the
that's
biggest
how we
issue that concerns people,
move
which
the
is anchor
goalpost.
babies. It's not a goalpost. You asked, I said I'm spitballing. This would be one way. You could still have naturalization. You could still have some form of vanilla silence. You could still have a fucking, what's that card that Trump is doing? I'm just saying the de facto way that we're doing things is that someone who's not an American can have a kid here, and that kid's American, is colloquially known as an anchor baby. It's a problem.
Can you describe what an
Y'all
anchor baby looks like?
Yeah, I was gonna say y'all call them that. Other people don't. They're just babies.
Okay, they're babies that are here with parents that aren't American that are clearly trying to circumvent the law.
All right, what do they look like though?
I'm being so serious. I don't understand a word you just said.
What do they look like though?
I don't know. Probably most of them are Hispanic.
Oh wow, I knew it.
South America.
I knew that was coming.
Oh wow.
Well,
Wait,
that's
did he
what
say
it is.
South America?
You asked what they look like. Aren't most immigrants in America Hispanic or from South America? Am I off on this? Is that not a fact? Hold on, let me look this up.
Yes, please
What
do.
percentage of immigrants are? What percentage of immigrants are from Mexico and South America?
Thank you, Hector, for all the hat and mustache. I love how it goes over both
Roughly
faces.
24 to 25% of the total foreign-born population, single largest country of origin. Over half of all U.S. immigrants are born in Latin America, Mexico, Central America, Caribbean, and South America. Yeah, there. What is that? Is that? Are we not allowed to say that? Is that big? Is that not true? What's the
Doesn't
problem?
make them anchor babies. I think you're not understanding that.
Dude.
And South America isn't a country. South America isn't a country, it's a continent. Actually, I do understand exit polling shows that the economy was the #1 reason why people voted for Trump, not immigration. So I do understand.
Okay.
You're actually an outlier.
Well, anyways, I don't think I am, but
you are.
I don't think that
you
your
lack
polling
in
doesn't do shit.
Yeah, you lack in self introspection. We understand that.
And you lack in understanding the opposite position. You
no,
I
do actually.
I keep America.
I do
America,
way better than you, that's for sure.
I don't want to flood the country with foreign-born populations is like a
Crow says, I broke this man with $4. I want to just make it around 5 because I'm petty. W Crow.
Okay, wait a second. You said foreign-born, but we're talking about birthright citizenship. So how are they foreign-born?
Because the purpose of why they're coming here is that they are not Americans. They're from a foreign country, and then they come here to have a kid to try and anchor themselves to said country, even though they're not American, even remotely. Do you think that the only thing that makes America
holding on to
is
an
the
anchor when it pops out? Is that how that works, Mia? Is like the baby holding on to an anchor when they pop out, and it's still connected to a chain to the woman's uterus?
Yes, hosepipe to pylorus. They do swing circle. They anchor themselves, just like a ship, just like a destroyer, just like a cruiser. You understand that, right? Do you understand the metaphor? The anchor is not an actual anchor. It's a metaphor.
Interesting, and yet both of them can still be deported, so I guess your metaphor is incorrect. Because they're not anchored here.
That's the whole thing. They're saying that there's native-born citizens that are being deported?
Yes.
You're saying there are children?
Yep.
How many?
6 that I know of offhand.
6. Let's 500x that. Let's get to 6 million. Come on.
6 million?
The fuck are we gonna do with 6? What are we gonna do with 6?
Why is
6.
he yelling?
I need them all gone. I need this to be America again. Okay?
You are American by
Where's
being born here,
America?
according to you. It's so odd.
Okay. Then I want the Americans that are born here by virtue of the fact their parents aren't American to be
Yeah, that wouldn't
deported.
be you. Again,
You
like
don't
if you want to
understand
take
that.
that away, you're no longer an American citizen. You've already acknowledged that one of your parents came in the 1800s. They weren't here at the founding of our nation in 1776. So therefore, you are not an American citizen even by your birth. Hell, I wouldn't be an American citizen by my birth. I'm okay with that. Send me back to the Czech Republic, pay the ticket. I don't care. But you,
Please.
sir, are not an American citizen by your own standard. I hope you realize that.
How much is a one-way ticket to the Czech Republic cost?
I don't know. Find it and buy it for me.
Look
I
it
don't care.
up. What the fuck?
I'll tell you what. I'm being so serious right now. If you will film it from start to finish, well, I'll draft it up too. I'll draft it. If you film it from start to finish, where you will leave my country because you don't like it so much.
According to you, this is my
ticket.
country too. I was born here. And
No,
by the way,
according to you,
it's only you. It's
hold
only
on, you just
your
said by my
misunderstanding.
logic,
It's
that I don't
only
wanna-
your misunderstanding that I'm against the United States of America. That's your misunderstanding. I actually think that it's the most patriotic and the most American thing that you can do to speak out and criticize the government of the United States of America. In fact, that's how our country got started. Is we criticized the British Empire at the time and broke away from them. I am doing the most American thing that you can do. Speaking out against the country, speaking out against somebody that's acting very un-American in his actions, right? That's what it means to be an American citizen and to love this country, is to stand up for it and want it to be better. It's only your misunderstanding that I'm against it.
That sounds nice, and I guess I could at a grand level agree with you. But when we get into actual, what does that even mean? That someone who's not upholding American values, or you talk about Trump? You know, Trump's not even the most radical president we've had by a long shot. Trump capitulates to the legal process and the legal system. You've got presidents that have said, we don't care what the Supreme Court says, we're doing it anyways.
That would be violating the Constitution, and he doesn't capitulate. He ignores them. He only brought back Kilmer Abrego Garcia. Yes, he does. Goodness me. And that beep you hear is you finally being muted because you don't have the self-control to not interrupt. Okay, so yes, Donald Trump bucks against the Supreme Court all the time. He bucks against the the lower judicial courts as well. That's why he had the Supreme Court issue a ruling or decree saying that the lower courts could not issue nationwide injunctions unless it was sued in multiple districts. Cool. And yes, Parkers, that's a good point. There was Andrew Jackson who was Trump without Tanner and Twitter. Wasn't orange. And didn't rule by
crazy.
Yeah, that was funny, and didn't rule by social media posts. No, Donald Trump and his administration took months to bring back Kilmer Abrego Garcia, and they only did it so that they could put him on a sham trial, which was just recently dismissed as malicious prosecution because Donald Trump is a giant baby and was throwing a temper tantrum because he was ruled against by the United States Supreme Court. He waited 83 days to do anything. And I don't know if you realize this, if you want an authoritarian regime, you should in fact leave the United States of America. The United States of America is made up as 3 co-equal parts of the government. The executive branch isn't even listed as the first one in our United States Constitution. There is a reason for that. The other reason why it's called president is because they are meant to preside. Basically, they are supposed to watch, sit back, and be the voice of the other branches of government. There's a reason why it was called president. There's a reason that position is called that. And also, you're literally required in the executive branch of government to uphold the laws So the fact that you go against it means that you shouldn't be in the executive branch of government. You are the enforcers of the laws that are put in place by Article 1, the case laws that are then instituted by Article 3 of the Constitution. And by violating either one of those, you are violating Article 6 in your own Article 2 branch of government. Article 6 is your oath of office. I hope that all helps as well.
Do I have to leave too?
Probably.
Like, I didn't get to
Okay.
ask that question.
So, okay, go ahead. I'm sitting. Go
She
ahead.
asked. You didn't hear?
Oh no, I asked if I gotta leave too, since we're doing what we're like supposed to do, and having brains of our own and being able to criticize the people that we technically employ as American taxpayers. So do I gotta leave too?
Do you understand? Should you leave? No, you shouldn't leave. I mean, if you want to leave, leave.
Why did Ari have to leave?
Who is Ari?
The host?
Oh, I don't know. Why did she leave? I don't know.
Bro,
You're saying
you literally
why
just
should
told
she leave?
her.
No, she said I would love to go back to the Czech Republic. That's what she said. Where she said her family was from. I was like, okay, well, let's film it start to finish, and I'll fund your ticket. She doesn't have to leave. She said, I'd love to. Ask her, why would she love to leave? Aren't you guys co-hosts?
I already explained it, that if somehow, what was your proposition about the Supreme Court of the United States making a ruling that actually dismantled the entire government, like our Constitution as we know it and our government as we know it? Then yes, I would want to leave because it's no longer the United States of America. Again, we have three co-equal branches of government. If one sits above the other, then there is no longer a co-equal branches of government. It's no longer the democracy or the constitutional republic that our founding fathers built. And so therefore, no, I don't want to be here anymore.
Let me ask you, do you actually believe that the judiciary is a co-equal branch of government?
Yes, it
To
absolutely is.
Congress
It's written
and the
into the
executive?
Articles of the United States Constitution, absolutely.
Doesn't Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution allow for Congress to limit the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court?
Which clause is that?
Article 3, Section 2, Sub 2. They're on appellate jurisdiction. It's called clawback. They can take an issue like someone that's on habeas corpus, and they can say, we don't want the Supreme Court to hear this case. So wouldn't that mean Congress is the most powerful branch of government?
Nope, sorry. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's called ex parte McCardle.
It's only in
Famous
it's
case.
in all cases affecting ambassadors and other public ministers. You didn't read.
That's original jurisdiction. What about appellate jurisdiction?
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, you're still
That's
not
original
doing it right.
jurisdiction. That means is that Congress
Are you an
cannot
attorney
prevent
now?
the Supreme Court from
Are you
hearing.
an attorney now?
I'm in law school.
I doubt that.
Okay, but fine, you can doubt it. What do you think about appellate versus original jurisdiction?
You're still not correct.
Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2.4. In all cases, in all other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact with such exceptions. So interesting that you omitted that, but now let's talk about that. I brought it to light. Can't Congress limit what the Supreme Court hears?
No.
It says that, and under such regulations as Congress shall make.
Yeah. Show me where they've limited it then.
Appellate jurisdiction.
Show me
It's
where
ex
they've
parte
limited
McCardle,
it
the name
then.
of the
Sorry,
case.
you're not doing well. Show me where they've limited it.
Okay.
Show me.
I said ex
Show
parte
me.
McCardle is the case.
Show me. What's the case number?
Ex parte, I don't think it has a case number.
They do.
It's
They
on the
have filing
1800s.
numbers. They have docket numbers. You should know this if you're actually in law school.
Do you think I should know the case number of all cases?
Yeah,
that
you
we like
probably
learned?
shouldn't. You just said that they
Name a
don't have
lawyer
a
that knows
case
the
number. You don't
case
know that it's
number
a
of
docket
Marbury versus
number.
Madison.
Yeah, see, you don't know enough.
Name an attorney. Find me
Yeah,
an attorney.
dude. Yeah, if you're using it as a source, yes, you should absolutely know. He's
I'm
not doing
sorry, I
well.
stepped away.
You're
I don't
good.
know why the light. I stepped away, so he's in law school.
Supposedly, but he didn't know what a docket number or a case number is.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's doing great. Isn't that how that usually goes?
I mean, I even know what a docket and case number would be, and I'm not in law school. I did take business law though.
Someone said he's at a bar near the courthouse. Would that count? That's actually funny. All right. Well, we do have Travis in Maryland as well that still supports Donald Trump. I know. Also, thank you to Brittany for the 10. Said it's the first time that she's donated to me. So, W. Brittany as well. Guys, if you guys can help this out, we have math 59 left in the goal. If you guys can help clear that out in the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes, that would be great. Again, this goes to pay the screener and also pay Mia. I'm trying to help everybody out. The screener is doing labor. Don't make their labor free. Mia's doing labor up here with me.
I'm trying to hold it together because these have been painful.
Hi, Travis. You're on air. How are you doing today?
Okay. All right. Hey, I'm doing all right. You chilling? You chilling?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So I didn't know when I was on air. I was listening to the whole conversation. I just didn't know. Yeah. So on your thing, it says Trump is ruining America.
Yes. Why are you
I
still
just
supporting Donald Trump?
Okay. I don't see those as one and one. And this is a high school level conversation here, as opposed to like a lower level conversation here. I don't mean that in a proud way, but yeah, I would say Trump is not ruining America. Sorry, I have 5 kids. If you hear them screaming in the background,
Okay.
Trump is not ruining America, but he is exposing America. Does that make sense? I can elaborate if need be.
Um, can I ask you just to get ahead of the game? Are you an accelerationist, a nihilist?
No.
Go ahead, continue to elaborate then.
Okay. So I think there's been a lot of deep-seated things uh, that have been present in our Congress and in our executive branch that are just now becoming obvious to the general public. I remember years ago, I would tell my dad, if I wanted to watch a bunch of middle schoolers debate, I would sign into a congressional hearing. It's becoming kind of crazy. So the things that Trump is saying are to the point where, like, it's things that you would expect in like a sci-fi, hyper political thriller. That's the kind of level that he's operating. Um, and if you don't believe me, all you got to do is just look at his Truth Social. Now, I don't think Trump has the power to destroy the democratic system because, as many politicians have explained decades and decades ago, that
this system is dedicated to correcting itself. And I think that's where we're at. I think we're at a cusp where things are like correcting itself. It just had to become this extreme. Now, I have voted for Donald Trump in the past for this very reason, because I think if we went with the Democratic Party, that the things that are hidden would still stay hidden. But the way that our government works is still clearly wrong. And Trump is the one who has been willing to go balls to the walls. He's been the one that's been willing to like go all the way, and literally act like a middle school person who is.
All right, I have ADHD. I can't do this. I am so sorry. You lost me about 7 paragraphs in.
I heard balls to the
Is there a
walls, and I could just think
policy?
all I could hear was Ludacris and going like to the windows. Okay. I was muted on purpose because I was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I did it anyways. No. Yes, so in theory, if our process, our constitution works the way that it's supposed to, then yes, the executive branch of government cannot just pull away the authority that the other two branches of government share equally with them. However, they have previously continually limited their own power that they can assert over the executive branch of a government. For example, Trump v. United States, or maybe it's Trump v. Texas, I can't remember which one, where the Supreme Court granted all presidents partial immunity for acts of official powers, right? And then it shows even now with Congress and refusing to vote on the War Powers Act in order to demand that hostilities cease in Iran and that our troops come home. And in fact, now that we look at Iran, in fact, we just fired at them again. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, is that what you got in the
yeah,
comments?
yeah.
Why does that always happen during negotiations? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, caller.
Of what is to come, which is a bucking against the almighty power of the executive branch. I mean, he's already digging on the site where the Arc de Trump is supposed to be. It's, as the Democrats say, is East Wing 2.0. But people are starting to realize that. And I think the uprising that's coming right now, you being one of the obvious, the most present examples, you are starting to call this out. So many thousands of others, including in legacy news formats, are starting to call this out. Then we're going to be able to buck up against it. Reveals, it's like pulling out a splinter. It shows what's wrong, and we're able to remove it. Now, I did vote for Trump.
The Ark isn't going up at the White House, just so you know.
Say it again?
The Arc de Trump isn't going up at the White House.
No. I said like the East Wing of the White House.
Oh, okay.
The Arc de Trump is going up over by the Arlington cemetery.
That's even worse.
But if you look
Arlington
right now,
cemeteries for our fallen war veterans, he can fuck all the way off with that shit.
There's already construction sites there, and they're saying it's to test the soil, but it's a blocked off. It's a blocked off construction zone. And
okay, Travis.
So,
Travis.
I think
Travis.
that, yeah. What's up?
Is there a policy that you agree with or a particular, like, something that, that you think is helping the American people, like helping them, like a policy?
Hmm.
You're awesome.
What is it?
That Trump has introduced.
That'd be a great start. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Well, as long as what I just said was understood. Yeah. I do believe that before the war in Iran, Trump was acting as if America was first. I'm not claiming that he had America first in his mind,
That's
but
still not
there's so
true.
many policies.
Argentina, $40 billion.
What did you say?
Said Argentina, $40 billion.
No, not that. And not even necessarily the Venezuela thing either. But I do think that in his mind, he was keeping America first.
Not even in his
100.
own mind. It's always been Trump first. Donald Trump has managed to increase his wealth by almost double in his
Of
first
course.
how
I
many
mean,
months?
insider
14
trading.
months? 14, 15, 16
Insider
months in
trading.
office.
Like, if you look at every quarter, if you're in office, you have to say what investment you've made over $1,000 into the stock market, and those have the majority of those have been with things just before he's ruled in their favor or taken them to China. So I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but I do think that America, at the very beginning of his second term, was prospering more because of maybe his own selfish agenda. Would you disagree?
I didn't understand the question. Or actually, I think I just zoned out. I'll be honest. I need you to
Okay.
get to your
Simplify.
point faster.
Trump was working in the advantage of America, while his agenda and America's agenda were aligned.
When was that? How were they aligned?
And that was at the beginning of his second term.
In what way and how was it aligned?
Tariffs,
No.
getting oil.
Tariffs don't help the
from-
United States. They don't help the American people. It's not
They do.
American first. How?
They do.
How?
Which one? Tariffs or Venezuela? Which one you want me to cover first?
Tariffs. I didn't even say Venezuela.
Sorry, say it again, please.
Tariffs.
Tariffs. Yes. Okay. So the tariffs decrease the economy of, and I'm saying this in the simplest way I can. Tariffs decreased the economy of foreign nations.
No, it didn't.
And-
China actually saw record sales in the first quarter after the tariffs were implemented on Liberation Day. Actually, for all of 2025, they saw an increase in their exports.
But that's
I think
the-
only the first quarter of 2026 did they see a slight decrease, but it wasn't a significant enough for them to blink at it. They actually saw an increase. What we actually
It's
saw occurring was countries like Canada, they reached out to other countries outside of the United States and said, let's make trade deals. They made trade deals with other countries to start up their trading and cut out the United States, which Donald Trump has been very upset about. And because the IEEPA tariffs were ruled to be unconstitutional, Donald Trump was trying to circumvent Congress and SCOTUS again by utilizing, I think it was Section 122, or maybe it was 121. I can't remember which section offhand. That's a blanket tariff with a blanket amount that cannot be assigned as a different amount per country, which then also eradicated our other trade deals that we had with countries like the United Kingdom, the European Union. And now Donald Trump is throwing an additional temper tantrum because they didn't sign off on the trade deal because the trade deal terms are no longer in effect.
Right.
They're currently paying
However,
less, or sorry, not they. They currently have less tariffs being imposed on their exports coming into the United States than
yeah.
previously, than the agreement
However,
was.
Ari, the difference is that the demand, and so where has our demand been redirected to? What is the supply? The supply.
We, according to the BEA or the BAE, I can't remember. I get that. The Bureau of Economic Analysis, sorry, BEA
Yeah.
.gov. We saw our importing is continuing to increase quarter over quarter, year over year. We have not seen a decrease in our foreign imports. We've seen an increase in our foreign imports.
Yeah.
So the demand is still coming from overseas. It has not
But
increased the demand at home.
what
You're
do you mean? Like, the
awesome.
demand is at home because that's the final resting place of these products.
Coming from foreigners, yes.
Well, sometimes from foreigners, but when he put tariffs on, then those foreigners went to other countries, and then we ended
Only
up
certain
with
countries did, like
from
Canada,
our country.
Australia, China.
Right. But we had to fulfill those exports or fulfill that demand from within our own country, which boosts our own economy. That's got to make sense.
No, because our exports did not increase either. They did not increase at the same level as our imports increased.
Right. But our internal economy was boosted. You can't deny that.
No, it's not. Our consumer confidence is down.
Confidence,
The consumer confidence in the market of the United States of America is down. So yes, I can absolutely disagree that demand increased at home. It's down
because
because of tariffs and the increase in prices and the increase of gasoline as well. That's a new facet that's been added on. But because of tariffs and the increase in prices on goods that are not going to come back down just because they were ruled to be illegal by SCOTUS, right? And in fact, they are
right.
now having to refund. The government is refunding corporations, not the individuals that end up paying the higher price. Credit card debt is up. You can listen to Kevin Hassett, who brags about it, thinking that somehow it's a good thing. Foreclosures are increasing for your average American consumer, which is also a negative economic indicator. So no, sir, like consumer confidence is down. This is seen and this is displayed in multiple ways. Again, credit card usage is up. People are spending above their limits. They are not confident enough to spend their own money, so they are utilizing credit in order to purchase things, or maybe they don't have the money in order to purchase things. Foreclosures are up. Small business bankruptcies are up.
But you gotta understand, like, what
Unemployment
industries.
is up.
Foreclosures are up. I completely agree with that. Trust me, I've just watched, and I have a family with young, and I've been trying to find housing, and I understand that even the housing market sucks. However, I mean, a simple indication would be the gas. Before the Iran war, even before Venezuela, even before um, when, but going back to when he placed the initial tariffs, when he first came into office during the second term, it showed that our economy was able to be more self-sufficient without those exports.
No, it
I mean,
no, it would no, it didn't. Again, they increase the imports, our foreign imports increased after the tariffs. So that
which
would be the
all
opposite of what you're saying. We would
what
in
I'm
fact have
saying
seen it
is
go switch
he
around,
made
but in
a
fact
move
our
that
trade
didn't.
deficit that Donald Trump has said is a horrible thing. Our trade deficit has increased. It's gone up, not down. If the tariffs were
But you're
working, our
saying,
trade deficit would have gone down, but instead it's gone up. This isn't
but it,
even like this
it
isn't real in any reality.
you're,
Like you're not in the same reality as us.
are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
you think that the tariffs have somehow increased demand at home for our products here, you are
No,
wrong.
it increased demand. It has not increased demand. The demand has stayed the same. The
So the
demand
tariffs did nothing
has
except hurt
stayed
the American
the
consumer.
the demands have stayed the same.
So the tariffs
Yeah,
did nothing except
like
for hurt the
why?
American consumer.
Say it again, please.
So the tariffs have done nothing except for hurt the American consumer.
I disagree. I love you too.
What?
I assume that was to his kid.
What? No, I just saw. I'm watching the live stream. I think you did a heart. So with your hands. So
That was to me. That was to me
oh,
because I
oh,
had that was to me. Yeah,
That
okay.
was to me,
Call me a fool. Call me a fool. All good.
gladly.
Yes. So, anyways, I'm saying that Trump made a move so that if imports from other countries increased, we would win, and increase it if imports decreased, we would still win because those demands would be placed upon the American economy, which would further revitalize our own buying and selling power from within America. That's got to make sense. That's got to make sense.
Nope, our buying and selling power has not gone up into a significant amount. Again, credit card usage has increased. Small business bankruptcies have increased. Foreclosures have increased. Consumer confidence is down. So that's why I say tariffs have done nothing except to hurt the American consumer.
I understand, Ron, but I do understand what the GPA.
GPA, grade point average.
No, sorry. The GPD. My fault.
GDP,
GDP.
gross domestic
My fault.
production, which is still not.
Yes.
It's
Yes. Gross
we had the
domestic.
lowest one in Q4, I believe it was the lowest growth of GDP. Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, so I don't know if you're walking around and losing service.
That's my fault. I'm sorry. Can you hear
Okay.
me now?
Yes, that's significantly better.
Okay. Good. All right. Yeah. So, like, he has positioned us at the very beginning of his term, after everyone voted, right? At the very beginning, things were going well. Things have turned poorly since then.
It was not going well even at the beginning. Again, like the tariffs have done nothing except for hurt the American consumers. That's not American first in any way. Thank you, Andrea.
Okay, so this is where you and I are probably missing each other. I'm talking about America as a whole, not the individual American consumer. Like, my life hasn't gotten that much better because of the tariffs, but I think America has. Does that make sense?
By what metric? By what metric? Because like Ari has gone through every metric that has shown that that is not the case. So by what metric do you think?
I think by our own. I think by. I mean, you could take it. I think by inflation, things have not necessarily gotten better for the American consumer. Does that make sense?
Nope.
But wait,
Didn't you say
would you?
America as a whole?
Yeah.
No, by American individual consumers, things have not gotten better for the American consumer. If I'm,
So
I
how has
don't
that
want to
helped
take,
America as a whole? Still waiting?
yeah, but it has helped America as a whole.
How?
Uh,
By what
namely,
metric?
the American government.
Oh, wait, the American government and the fact that we are having to refund $185 billion? Yeah, it's doing great.
Since when are we going to refund 180? When is that going to happen?
The IEEPA tariffs were deemed to be unconstitutional. And so the American government has already said, okay, we have to refund that, which is totals about $185 billion.
But how many things has Trump done that's been unconstitutional? It's like countless. That's not going to happen.
Okay, what are you fighting against right now?
I'm
I
not
mean, other
sure.
than
This is
reality.
I'm not trying
guys.
to
There's
like.
$36 left in the goal. If you want to fulfill that, that'd be
Um,
great.
You know the drill.
let me see if. Give me a second. Got to pull up my Cash App. I take it you just really don't want to talk to me. Okay. Hey, I can hang up. That's no problem. That's no problem. Thanks for talking to me,
No,
guys.
it's okay. You can pull up the Cash App. It's cool.
Yeah, you can still pull that up.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Dean said the point didn't just go over his head. It's like the point is aboard the ISS.
Say that again. Aboard the ISS.
Yeah, I don't know what the ISS is either. I'll be honest. So
Yeah, neither do I.
So like short of like USS. Okay, so okay, Travis, this is this is
What's
where
up?
we're having issues. We'll ask you a question, and then you answer the question, and then you
Yeah,
contradict your like your statements, and so I don't think you like I don't know if you actually support what's going on, and you just need somebody to talk to because 5 kids is a lot, or like I'm very confused what's happening right now.
yeah.
okay. So what's the question?
The question is, are you actually still supporting Donald Trump and not like because like for instance we talked about finance or we talked about econ and
No,
Ari explained the different ways that economically we are not doing well. Okay,
I,
and then you were like,
I,
but
I.
we are doing well, and we were like, how? And you were like,
Because
inflation.
which is not doing great.
Oh wow. Okay, so I'll say it this way: I do not support Donald Trump, but
Okay.
I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary for him to play this out so that the justice system can then kick in with its built-in guardrails, including people like you and I, who are able to recorrect more towards the center. So if you look throughout the
We
past
have no
100
center
years,
party or a leftist party in the United States of America. Every party is on the right.
what? Every party's on the right?
Yes.
Yes, when looking at it at a global standpoint,
Okay.
we
Think
are.
like think about like a baseline and then like a sign form. Or if I or I'll say kind of
Somebody
like
remind me what that's called. What's the Overton window has
Yeah,
shifted
I was just about to say.
extremely to the right in American
oscillating.
politics. Again, we
Yes.
have no leftist party on a global scale. That's why when
Not
people
like
get so offended when I say liberals are on the right, it's because it is. In the United States of America, they're the right-leaning party. And even if you look at liberalism in, let's say, Japan, the Liberal Party is considered an authoritarian-ish, authoritarian-leaning, right-leaning party. Like, I'm just pointing that out there. That's the current one that's currently
I
been
agree.
elected into power in Japan.
Nonetheless, moving towards the quote unquote left is moving towards the center. You
Yes, in
can't
this
disagree
case,
with
in the
that.
United States, that would be the case, but we're so far behind, that's not what's gonna happen.
It is exactly what's going to happen. Just watch over the next 2 years. It's exactly what's going to happen. And you have even people in the quote unquote far right who are actually pushing for that to happen. You can't disagree with me on that. Even freaking Tucker Carlson or Megyn
Yeah.
Kelly or Candace Owens or any of those
In a
people that
polling done by the Democratic Party with registered Democrats and including independents, they
yeah,
found that the only thing that they want the Democratic Party to move further left on is universal health care. Everything else, they believe that they should either be more center or further right on the topics. Again, we have
exactly.
no leftist party in the United States of America. Our Overton window is fucked.
You're proving my point
No,
because
I'm not.
it
It's just what,
moves
like,
towards the center,
nope,
which
they don't
you
even
are
want them
always
to. Again, I've already
part of.
explained this to you. They want them to either move further right or stay in the center, which again is still on the right. The only thing they want them to move left on, which is moving to the center, is healthcare.
Which is what we call guardrails. They're guardrails to keep them from moving more towards the right. And those who, like me,
There
want
are
them
no
to move
guardrails
even
anymore.
more right.
Our Congress has capitulated. SCOTUS has given up their power to, again, like, presidents
No,
now
but
have
not
partial immunity against their actions as long as it's considered an official act of Congress. So
hear me here. The
I would rather not,
the people
Travis.
who
I
wanted to move
am
more
gonna.
towards the right actually wanted.
Nope.
Don't forget to look up the Cash App.
Is there something on the green one?
Shit, I can't see yours. What?
I was gonna say I don't have anything on the green one. I have Dean or aka Dad paid $2, so that just got it a little bit down. I don't know. Is it possible that we can clear out the last $34 at all? Does anybody have $34? Again, this goes to not just me, but it specifically goes to paying the screener. And it also goes to Mia, who is here giving her labor. I can't speak. I'm sorry.
I've been fighting for my life to stay quiet. You're fine.
That was a circular argument. Yes, Tori, I
Hey, but
agree.
Travis,
The
I
dude was
noticed you're listening. Go ahead, find them links in the description.
Yeah,
You
it's
said that's
Mermaid
what you were gonna
RE0
do.
everywhere. It's
Stand
the
on
same
it.
way I've always been. It's Mermaid RE0, the same way as my name. I do have a couple of super chats to read. Davidson, Polly said you're now a trad wife. No. What Polly and I said is that if I were to make enough money doing this, then I would be what is considered a trad wife. And then we made a joke where he said I had all the dresses, and I said, yeah, to wear to all the funerals. I meant of my dead husbands
Yep.
that I don't have. It was great. If y'all missed it, you should go watch that stream. I think that was from not this Saturday, but the previous Saturday. You should go watch that. It was great. Aslan said, let's go to Japan. Absolutely, I want to go to Japan. Not white means not American. To the last caller, not to Travis. I already forgot the other guy's name. Trump is an antichrist by definition. Catholic, Orthodox, and other Christian traditions generally see antichrist as a future deceiver or a manifestation of evil, sometimes inhabited by Satan. The most I've heard of him is that he's not the antichrist, but more along the lines as the beast, but not the antichrist. But it could be. Let's see. Military family caller is an idiot. That's the last guy. I'm with Ari's friend, ADD. This caller is painful to listen to. Why is he talking so slow? I wish I knew. Paid program. Thank you so much for the $19.99. Moose says, I swear, why can't America negotiate in good faith? Like, seriously, how would America feel about negotiating when the other side halfway through started to lob missiles at America while saying we are close to a deal? Yeah. It's the green or the blue one. TikTok gets sensitive. Junior Flip, thank you so much for the 10. The reason why, okay, so to be clear, the primary reason why I asked for the direct donations on co-streaming days is because I don't get paid by YouTube until the 21st of the following month, which means they would have to wait until the 21st of the following month to get any part of it, which is why I asked for the direct donations as much as I love Super Chats because they help me out next month and keeping, like, it does incentivize me to continue to do this on a couple nights a week. But this way they get paid immediately and they don't have to wait for their paycheck and whatnot. Hey, Tara. Hold on. I do have to check something, though. 66. Oh, falling to 666. Trish sent 5 for Feminists Against Fascism, FAFO, Feminists Against Fascism Organization. That's hilarious. Jordan cleared it out. Jordan, can we get huge W's to Jordan for clearing out the rest of the goal? Said thank you for all you and your team do. Well, I appreciate that, guys. So huge W to Jordan, huge W to Brittany, huge W's to Rosa. They all sent 10 or more. So I appreciate that. But thank you, Jordan, for closing that out. Let's see. Lenati, I'll see you in the chat. To the caller that's holding, I'm not trying to speak to a leftist, but I do appreciate you. And accelerationism to me is sleepy time. So thank you. All right, just, okay. Haresh comes in with another $19.99. Gas station with the 10. I do appreciate you guys. Guys, I'm very bad at reminding people to do this. If you are new here, be sure to hit that follow or that subscribe button. If you are enjoying what Mia has to say, my mods have been great and have been linking her YouTube directly in the comment section. Be sure to hit follow. If you guys are watching over on TikTok, you can see her right on screen on the channel. She does not yet have a Twitch set up. It's the last time I heard.
Yeah, I do.
Is it the same as
my tubes?
So it's Maniacal Mia with 2 A's.
At the end, yes.
Yeah, so Mia has 2 A's on Twitch. So Monica's got it in there. So yeah, let's see. We'll do that. If you guys are watching me over on YouTube, you're about to get redirected over to Chris. If you know, you know. I'm so glad I don't have to say, truly, I don't have to say Polly anymore. It makes me feel so much better. So I will see you guys.
Polly Chris.
Yeah. I always call him Chris. Yeah. It's been nice. Ever since it came out, I'm like, sweet, I get to call you Chris now. Thank you. It sounds so much better. All right, guys, over on YouTube, I'll see you guys back on live tomorrow. We will be on my channel because I am not on the line tomorrow because they are doing their own thing. So y'all have a good rest of your night over there. Bye-bye.
I have a quick thing
for YouTube
that I have to say. Dino Nuggies are deconstructed, reconstructed dinosaurs.
Oh, I did forget to read that.
I want you to know the truth.
I forgot to read that from Crow. My bad. Thank you, Crow, for the $1. I mucked up.